Mr. and Mrs. Holt believed that children belonged in families. And obviously, if it could be a family in the country where they were born, or certainly with their birth family, that was the first choice. But the reality is, for thousands, tens of thousands of children, that's not a possibility. And they believed and they proved that love transcends nationality, race, country, culture.
We look back at Bertha Holt and the amazing things she did in this community and for children all over the world. We'll also talk to an old friend of mine, Jim Gibbs, the old man of the sea.
At my high school, I was very isolated. I had tried so hard to have regular friends, but...
And Amelia Avila with some amazing words about Look Me in the Eye. I'm not dead. That sounds like something interesting. We're at Bertha Holt Elementary School, and last week we showed you what the Holt International Children's Services Agency was doing 20 years ago in Korea. Tonight, we're going to look at what they were doing 20 years ago in Romania. So the reason we get to do all these videos is because KEZI, when they sold to a national company, they took all the archives and gave them to the University of Oregon's Special Collections Department. Yeah. So we went and worked a deal with them, and so we're now able to take these old stories that we did and bring them back to life so people can see that Bertha Holt Elementary School is more than a building with a name, it's a person.
Do we get to see you 20 years ago at the news desk? Because I will pay money. I've got just a few bucks on me, but I will just hand it over.
You don't have to pay money, just watch.
Yes.
When a crisis arises anywhere in the world and children are in need, Holt International Children's Services is one of the first agencies to arrive.
We have definitely come to the decision that we've got to do something, and we've got to do it now.
We didn't have enough money. We didn't have anything on our budget for Romania. Finally, we said, let's just go ahead. And then people began to donate. God took care of it. we had to have money. It costs a terrible amount of money to start in a new country.
Eventually, Holt found families to adopt these children. Okay. And the agency's work continues today in 15 countries all over the world. Bertha is the backbone, the inspiration, and the muscle behind it all. Even at 90, she still has a hand in the daily operation. They call her Grandma and give her the same respect. When she walks into the room, everyone stops what they're doing to hear what she has to say.
Good morning.
Hi, Grandma.
Welcome back.
I went to India and I saw... So they named that new building Bertha.
Did they? Yeah, all right.
Who'd ever think that?
When she's not at the office, Bertha Holt is traveling the world visiting her orphanages. This one is in Pune, India. She's never far from the children. On her most recent visit, as she's done countless times before, she brought a child home with her.
It's such a joy to come to escort you across the ocean, way, way from India.
This girl's new parents live in Fargo, North Dakota.
And one of these days, maybe I can see you again. You won't know me, but I will remember you.
It's hard to realize there was a time when some people couldn't accept the idea of foreign adoptions. Over the years, in her own quiet way, Bertha Holt has helped change those attitudes.
The older people who've been raised with that prejudice all their lives, they're not going to change. But sometimes the grandfather said, if you bring home a child like this, a child from another country, you don't ever bring him to my house. But after he comes, he gets so interested. Everybody says, oh, he's just beautiful, he's so intelligent, and he's charming. Then I get a picture of Grandpa holding the baby in his arms, just all covered with smiles.
That's what Bertha Holt's life is all about, changing people's outlook and changing children's lives.
We had their picture when they were in the orphanage, woe-begone and thin, and just looked hopeless, helpless. And their eyes just looked so sad. And then after they'd been in a home for 1 week, they were different people. They were just shining and so eager. Everything changed. They knew they were loved.
Bertha still keeps in touch with many of her 65,000 adoptees. Each summer, the agency sponsors picnics for the adopted children and their families. And Grandma attends when she's in the country.
I tell them, maybe I'm so old now, maybe I can't come back next year. And so then they all line up and have pictures taken with their family with me in it. And they always want to brag to me about their children. And they brag about their looks, about their scholastics, about their sports, and their music ability and their art. Oh my, I can't tell you how much they brag.
Bertha Holt has changed the world, and she's still working on it. But she doesn't take the credit. She says she's just a good listener.
God planned it. We didn't know anything about orphanages or orphans. We didn't know about international law. We didn't know about welfare of children, except that they're God's children and they should be cared for.
Real baby.
I saw you not too long ago.
And we're here at Bertha Holt Elementary talking to Susan Cox, the Vice President of Policy and External Affairs at Holt International Children's Services, known as Holt International. Is it kind of fun for you to walk around here? And I mean, just because I knew Grandma Holt,
Right,
and you
right.
kind of walk in the doors and you think, this is...
Well, we all always come on Grandma Holt's birthday. They always have a big celebration, and I love to come. And it seems like the devotion that the school has had to keeping her memory alive is just astonishing. And they know who she is, they know what Holt does, they sponsor children here. This is an exceptional school, an exceptional community, and I think, you know, Grandma would be very proud of this. We're very proud of it. When we have international guests and dignitaries, we bring them to the school.
So let me ask you this. I can't stop asking you questions because I love this topic so much. But if, in terms of why is it so important when you have a name on a building that you remember the person behind the name? Because it's not just a building.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, these children, and especially on that one day, they set that aside, and they have songs that they write about her. They sign, they have shirts. I mean, it's fabulous. But they're enthusiastic about it, and in many ways, she is alive within the spirit of the children and the families that come to the school.
Which is exactly what she would love.
Oh, exactly what she'd love.
I could hear her
She would be
now.
right in there. She'd be taking pictures of all the kids.
And she'd tell them all to call her
Oh,
grandma.
absolutely.
Susan Cox,
absolutely.
thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's
We
so good
appreciate
to
it.
see
No, it's
you
good
again.
to see you too.
Oh, it
That's
makes
a
me
wrap.
so.
Dr. Fryfield.
Hey, Rick.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Good to see you.
Who's this guy?
Oh, this is my dad, Sam. Lives here in Eugene. Rick, my dad's an 18-year prostate cancer survivor. How
Oh
about
my
that?
gosh, congratulations. I'm a prostate cancer survivor too, and it's nice to know people go 18 years and longer. So tell me, I got a question for you. Can I ask you a prostate
Yeah,
cancer?
sure,
I hate to interrupt
sure.
you, but I got to ask him a question if that's
Sure.
okay with you. So if I'm being treated for prostate cancer, should I tell my friends and family that I'm going through the treatment?
Well, the short answer is yes. This is a difficult time in a guy's life, and he needs to enlist the support of those around him. That's why we have friends. That's why we have family. So there's a tendency sometimes, a hesitation, maybe a tendency to want to control that a little bit. And
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed a little bit.
yeah, you know, I can understand that. I really can. But ultimately, I think I always encourage guys to go ahead and just let their family know. You know, the fact is they're going to know eventually, and how are they going to feel about it if they don't hear about it for a while? So you have to pick the right time, the right place, and just talk about how you feel about things. And ultimately, every guy that I've encouraged to do that has come back and said, yeah, you were right. I feel much better now that I've told my family.
All right. So do you guys get together often?
Every week. This is a standing lunch date on Fridays, and we have a circuit around town, and yeah. That's what we do.
Well, thanks for letting me interrupt your lunch. It's nice to meet you, and thanks for being here, because it makes me feel a lot better about this.
In an era where newspapers are struggling and a lot of larger papers are dying, we are doing well because we tend to cover things local, and we offer news that people can't get anywhere else. That's our model, is covering local news and sports and anything to do with the community. Journalism and newspapers and other media sources is important because we have the training. Most of the people that I employ have gone to college and studied journalism, and so what we offer is a source of news that can be trusted. It's in an era where everybody's trying to be the first to get the news out. We actually do some research and talk to the sources and get the story and all the details behind the story.
I don't think you can live in Oregon and not somehow have a love affair with lighthouses. There are lots and lots of books about lighthouses. I have a friend named Jim Gibbs. He wrote a number of books about lighthouses. He was considered the expert on lighthouses up and down the West Coast. Jim actually spent time on a lighthouse like this called Tillamook Head. Then he built his own lighthouse just south of Yachats. Jim died in 2010. But over my years at KEZI, I think I did 2 or 3 stories on Jim. I found one recently, thanks to the Archives Department over at the University of Oregon. I want to show that story to you because every time I drive south of Yachats and I look over, I still see Jim's light.
On tonight's Oregon People segment, a trip to the coast. Many of us are fascinated by lighthouses. Have you ever driven by that lighthouse near Yachats? It looks like it's part of a man's home. Well, it is. But it's also a working, registered lighthouse. Watch.
This was my dream from the time I was a young man, from the time we first came down to the coast in the 1920s, that someday I would have my little so-called castle on the edge of the Oregon shores.
Here on the cleft of the rock, nestled in the shadow of Cape Perpetua, 71-year-old Jim Gibbs found a dark spot to build what has become a light for many. He noticed on some old maps that Cape Perpetua was earmarked for a lighthouse. The government never built it, so Gibbs did it himself.
Lighthouses have always been kind of a homing pigeon for the seafarer, so to speak, and they have a special purpose, and they mean something different to everybody. A lighthouse is kind of a human symbol of the light shining always the brightest in the darkest places.
The rotating light is officially registered with the Coast Guard and must be lit from sunset to sunrise every day of the year.
It's kind of a symbol in a way, because lighthouses are in the twilight of age to navigation, so to speak, in this high-tech electronic age in which we live. But they still have a warmth, and they still are very much admired by the general public. And I think there'll always be lighthouses, even though their importance has been reduced.
Gibbs knows how important lighthouses were to seafarers of the past. In 1945 and 46, he was a lighthouse keeper on one of the most lonely, isolated lighthouses in the country, Tillamook Rock near Seaside.
It was an experience all of its own, because it was suddenly like going to a prison. In fact, when I was out there, it was called the Little Alcatraz of Oregon. And in later years, news people dubbed the name Terrible Tilly.
To Jim, Tilly was not all that terrible. In fact, he learned to love her and what she stood for. You can see by his home that this maritime writer never has been able to break off his love affair with the sea.
Well, it's kind of like having old friends. I mean, each one of them means something personally to you. and they all have a story connected with them. And the nice thing about nautical things, they never talk back to you. You can just reminisce with them.
Gibbs spends a lot of time reminiscing with the old 18th and 19th century technology, most of it obsolete. But he still salvages pieces like these old lighthouse lenses.
These all have hand-ground polished glass, and each one has a different configuration because they all refract and reflect into one central band.
Each one spent many years guiding ships along the rocky Pacific coastline. Reason enough for Gibbs to save it, reason enough for people to remember. Gibbs spent his whole life writing about the sea. Not a bad job writing about something you love so much, especially when it's as powerful as the ocean. The sea is filled with mystery and intrigue for this man. The lighthouse and the rock it's built on don't stop the storms from beating the coastline, but they do provide protection, security, and a solid foundation for many, including Jim Gibbs. Maybe that's why he calls this place his Cleft of the Rock.
Cleft of the Rock comes from a passage in the Bible in Exodus, which tells about Moses being hid in the cleft of the rock when God passed by. It's also from the hymn, which says, "He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock." I just give all the credit to the good Lord because I've had a blessed life, so to speak, and it's kind of terminated in exactly what I had planned from the beginning, and He allowed it to be.
So the next time you drive along Highway 101 south of Yachats and you are admiring that light and being warmed by the romance lighthouses stir in all of us, you might remember Jim Gibbs for this very special gift he's given all of us.
And tomorrow night, two fascinating women. We were introduced to them while on a trip to Brownsville, and we were so impressed with what they did and what they had to say that we ended up doing a story on them. So
I'd ask you what that is,
tomorrow.
but it's a surprise.
It's a tease. We can't tell it until tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Emma.
I am Amelia Avila.
And she is from the Look Me in the Eye campaign. Amelia, have you ever been to Ranchito Grill?
I have not. Never heard of it.
So good. Oh, it's easy to find. Mohawk and Olympic. It's right there.
Yeah.
Delicious fajitas. I love the margaritas, though Rick cuts me off a little too fast for my liking.
Ooh.
But we do have a drawing that you can enter. Free, 2 dinners for free, and it's really easy. You just look for the Rick Dancer sign, you write your the bullet points, the regular information, your name, your phone number, how we get a hold of you really, and you could win dinner for 2 at Ranchito Grill. We do have a winner right now. Do you want to announce the winner? I'll do the drum. Ready? You want to do the... Okay.
Yeah. Her name is Kat Moscow.
Kat Mogstad, congratulations. 2 dinners at Ranchito Grill, all yours.
It's 4 in the morning. Nature is starting to stir. In an hour or so, the sun will peek over the Cascade Mountain Range and spill into the Willamette Valley. Nestled at the base of those mountains near a small community of farmers north of Junction City, you'll find Lockmead Farms. The cows and those who care for them are already up. Something about starting the day this way seems so natural. Taking care of the land, the animals, and each other is just part of the tradition at Lockmead Farms. In these parts, hard work, commitment to community, and how to treat each other are simply the way it's done. Lockmead Farms is fresh, it's local, it's family. No wonder our milk, ice cream, and other dairy products taste so good. But you don't have to visit the farm to experience our goodness. You can find them at your neighborhood Dairy Mart store, the home of Lockmead Farms, or in your local natural food store.
I think a big part of what we do is teach people why they're having problems and what they can do.
Physical therapy is not just for athletes. It's for anyone living with pain.
You spend some time at a computer, don't you?
Yeah. And see, if I was sitting up more.
And you'd have more problems if you sat at a computer 8-10 hours a day.
We live with pain. Neck, lower back, shoulder, hip, knee, and foot pain. Oftentimes the source of the problem can be found in patterns that we've learned.
I can teach you how to make these changes. So what I want you to do is hold your arm straight up like that, all right? And now I want you to hold that band in your hand. Now the only thing the band is...
At Stazak Physical Therapy and Wellness Center, we help you unlearn patterns by strengthening stabilizer muscles and your core and identifying the cause of the pain.
I like, when people have this realization that it's not as hard as they think. They don't have to just live with this. The light goes on for them about that it's not as hard as they think it is to get past the problems that they have.
So I'm here with Amelia Avila, who is with the Look Me in the Eye campaign, and she came up with this a few years ago after someone in an audience said, "What can I do to make you feel more a part of where we live?" And Amelia said, "Just look me in the eye," and we all went, "That's magic."
Yeah.
So, because people do not look you in the eye, do they?
They don't. I really don't.
And for you, that feels like what?
Insulting. That kind of hurts, people from inside and out.
Hurts your feelings.
Yes.
Okay. Because what? That discounts you as a person?
I feel like that I kind of left out from the stuff that I used to do in the community, that I, to get involved and getting people to.
Is it difficult for people with disabilities to make friends outside of the community that they're in?
I think it's very, very difficult. At my high school, I was very isolated. I had tried so hard to have regular friends. But at some point in the middle of the year, I had more friends than I did, and friends who did not have disability, and that was the first time in my whole life I ever got connected with them. But I think, in the school environment, I think, getting special needs classes or classes with life skills with people with disabilities should get involved with their school activities or getting involved with the school community, or have kids from the lunchroom, the cafe, or have them to invite them to do things, hang out with them, or maybe after school they can come hang out and play. I mean, I feel like that would be very, very cool if I saw that.
I'm Rick Dancer. This is Nick Casa. That means the house. Can you guys say the house? That's right. This is Lisa. Say hi, Lisa. We are with Look Me in the Eye. People like that.
Something amazing happens when you give people the opportunity to see others in a new light.
That people with disabilities have a voice, that I have a purpose, that I have a reason to do this. And I've been screaming that for many years, and I finally am getting people to hear me.
They shouldn't be judging you on the outside. They should look at you on the inside and say, oh, this person is just as smart as I am.
It's a wonderful campaign. I think it's a voice for them that hasn't been there. It's a voice for the voiceless.
When we get into schools, you really see kids open up and start talking about different challenges they may have, whether it's a learning disability or just being a little bit different.
In elementary school, I got bullied a lot.
Why do we pick on each other? I'm looking for answers.
We had no idea that we would be in the stratosphere in such a short period of time. People have just taken to this message because it's so easy to grasp.
An eye is something that helps you reach in and connect to someone that you otherwise would pass by.
What I see happening for our clients is that they're discovering power in their community that they haven't previously experienced. When they're acknowledged, it just brings forth a whole part of themselves that they may not have even seen before.
It's a great program. Look it up. Be inspired by what you see there.
Because human connection is really important for everyone, not just people with disabilities, but human connection makes us motivated to keep waking up in the morning.
My sister has a disability.
Cecilia Kramer, a junior at South Eugene High School, heard about Look Me in the Eye and got an idea.
I got to know the kids in the life skills classroom, and they're great kids. It was a ton of fun, and I really wanted my friends to have the opportunity to be friends with them.
So she started a Look Me in the Eye club at South Eugene.
We play basketball together, we just talk about what it means to include people, and it's just a really great environment. I thought it would be really important because I know a lot of people who may not have as many friends because of, you know, whatever, family problems, all sorts of things, and like if we could have a place where everybody's just sort of included and nobody like cares, then it makes our school more tight-knit.
But the Look Me in the Eye campaign has really given people the opportunity to go out on that limb of discomfort and do things that you normally wouldn't do, but the message is, it's okay. Ask me a question.
It allows them to have an expression of value and a recognition for themselves that they, in many other respects, are not experiencing.
I think it's really easy to see someone with a disability and just dismiss that and just kind of walk on by. But when you think about it and really make an effort to make that contact and look them in the eye, it makes a huge impact.
Lisa, who's an artist, who writes, who paints, who does all these amazing things. And you would never know it if you didn't listen to her story, look her in the eye, and take time to get to know her.
We're gonna shock you, we're gonna amaze you, we're gonna do everything you told us we can't do.
There we go, all right.
The house.
Thank you.
Damn. Woo.
I really feel like I'm part of something that can honestly be felt. If we keep going to schools and keep making it bigger and bigger, it can be felt all around the world. And it can make change happen. Because to me, that's how I see Look Me in the Eye. It's an opportunity to make change.
You are an inspiration.
Thank
Change
you.
the world right there. See you later, man.
All
You're the
right.
best. See ya. Woo!
So if you're in the market for a video, Rick Dancer Media Services, we create long format videos, shorter videos, YouTube videos, website videos. What we specialize in is telling your story, and we do it with heart, we do it with passion. Sometimes we do it and make it just a little wacky. It's whatever you want. But give us a call to find out more about our services and what we offer. My phone number is right here on the screen, 541-232-3143, or go to rickdancer.com or Rick Dancer TV.
Just getting off the plane. You know, what I find really astonishing is that Mrs. Holt was a registered nurse, you know, back in the days when women didn't get education.
Yeah.
So that's why the Bertha Holt School being named after Grandma was so symbolic in my mind, was because she so believed in education. Oh, yeah. I still miss her.
Hayward Masters Track and Field Championships, 1998.
She almost got disqualified because she was waving at people, and she almost went outside of her lane.
Out of her track.
Grandma, don't wave!
I'm very, this is
She loved
great.
it.